Hi, my name is Jerry. I am a Reiki master, a registered Kundalini yoga instructor. I do energy healing and energy medicine, as well as I'm a witch and I do witchcraft. Awesome. Okay, so I wanted to talk about limiting beliefs today. So, this is something when I started going through energy healing that I had never really heard of before, but it was like once I started learning about it, it was so simple to understand and very easy for me to crack. And this is just an awesome way to start working with the mental energy. And we're going to use a lot of mental alchemy, right? We're not going to really be taking, one metal and turning it into gold. We're going to be transmuting the energies into some other type of energy. And that's why we call it mental alchemy. So let's go ahead and just dive right in. So, limiting beliefs. So, this could be your thoughts, a state of mind. Again, that's what a belief is, or a judgment. And that limits people from not pursuing their ultimate goals or desires in life. These thoughts are not just how we perceive ourselves, but how we perceive the world and how it works, as well as your role within it. So, when we talk a lot about childhood traumas, many times people will have a perception in adulthood that things that they should say or stand up for aren't as important because they perceive themselves as still this small child in the world because we haven't been able to get past that limiting belief. So that's how it talks about one's role within it. It can impact your ideas and your interactions with others. It's created by the ego. So the ego is actually created to protect us from pain. This is essentially how we express ourselves to the world. But many times, because we experience trauma throughout our childhood, teenage years to adulthood, right? We just kind of go through trauma throughout our entire lives. We create an ego to protect ourselves, to stop ourselves from feeling that embarrassment or what negative feelings that we may have gotten during that time. So, a little example that I put together here is just if you were embarrassed at school at a young age for speaking up, you may become shy or feel your voice doesn't matter. I don't want to feel that embarrassed again. Another example would be if you were embarrassed by reading out loud in class, and then maybe as an adult, you struggle with presentations or speaking in front of people because you're just stuck with that limiting belief that you really aren't the person that should be doing this. So it stops you from success. Influenced by negative past events, experiences, traumas, imposter syndrome, and fear of failure. So imposter syndrome is something that was new to me. I had never heard about this. So, in my yoga class, they talk about this with new yoga instructors. A lot of times they'll get certified and they're like, okay, go on and start teaching. And teachers actually won't go out and immediately teach. I was the same way. I was just like, I don't have enough knowledge. I'm going to look like a fraud. People are going to think that, like, who is this woman? Right. And that's really just kind of imposter syndrome. That's your limiting belief. We're all going to be new to something. So we all have to be, a little wet behind the ears, is what they say, or like dip our toes in. We have to learn in order to gain experience to engage, in order to gain experience, in order to gain knowledge. It's if the energy is not transmuted, it can actually impact you in adulthood and the behaviors and beliefs that you have in your adulthood, even if they're not true. So, an example again, if you're a little nervous to read in front of the class, or maybe you spoke up, so then in your adulthood, you feel not comfortable with public speaking. These are all issues that are seated within us as far as limiting beliefs, and there are ways that we can transmute them. They can come from other belief systems. They don't even have to come from your own belief system. They can come from household, religion, political, or social. So I also talk about like social media a lot. Again, you're repetitively seeing things. It's an advertisement platform, and it also, depending on the algorithm, can install belief systems within you. So again, you're getting belief systems from everywhere, and your brain attaches to them. The more they hear it, right? We talk about mantras, spell work. The more you hear things, it takes like I think in productization advertisements, they want to get your product and their advertisements in front of your face 7 times, because that's when it actually clicks in your brain and it starts to stick. So, you get those jingles stuck in your head and all that stuff. Again, you don't think social media would impact you from a belief system standpoint, but again, TV, social media, politics, the news, religion, everything can impact how you see yourself in the world and how you believe yourself to either be limited or unlimited, right? So it's the whole aspect of understanding the world as unfolding for us versus victim mentality that the world is happening to us. Examples of limiting beliefs. So shadow aspects of beliefs. I am not good enough. I am too old or too young. I don't have enough time. I'm not smart enough. I'm not worthy. I'll never be successful. I don't have enough money. This world sucks. I don't deserve love. What if I sound stupid? So these are all shadow aspects. These are really the imbalances that we see. So you can do chakra work, you can do you can do mental alchemy. We can work on this a lot. But one way is to look at what we call the light aspects of beliefs. So let's transmute these more shadow aspects on the left and bring them into more of the light aspects to the right. So I am good enough. It's not you, it's the world. We are not meant to fit into boxes. We are here to express our uniqueness in the world. And unfortunately, our society really tries to mold children and adults to fit into a box. And it's not conducive for most of us. Most of us want to be more free, a little bit more wild to express ourselves, and not in a terrible way, right? Like in a good way, in just a fun and free and loving way. My age provides me experience and wisdom, and I know this is true. But on the flip side, in case you're that person that's saying that you're a little too young, your age provides you a fresh perspective in this world. I will take time for self-care and love I need. I am learning. I will not know everything at first, but I will learn it. I am worthy. Success are the small actions that I take in my day, which lead to my ultimate success in life. I have opportunities to review my finances and find creative ways to spend less, leaving me more finances to achieve my goals. I trust in the universe and its infinite wisdom. I am love. I am free to express love. I ask great questions and have interesting ideas. Limiting beliefs and resulting behaviors. So because of the limiting beliefs, these become actual behaviors in our lives. I'm going to have a quote later that will talk about this a little bit more of how our thoughts and words actually are going to result into our behaviors, habits, and actions. So the resulting behaviors, let's start with the first one, not standing up for oneself. So this comes from feeling powerless. So if you're somebody who oftentimes in childhoods were told that you were wrong, or you had a lot of corrective behavior, you may actually feel powerless as an adult. Like anything that you say or do may not feel okay. So you might not actually stand up for yourself. You may actually become a little bit more of a doormat. So this is a imbalanced, we're all looking at imbalances here. Not speaking up for one's beliefs. So fear of being wrong or sounding unintelligent will oftentimes stop people from speaking up. Becoming overly risk averse, so really trying to avoid any risk. I've noticed this is just like so simple as not walking down a street, or having full on panic attacks to not even just be able to tell somebody that they have something in their teeth. Just afraid that maybe you'll offend them. Again, these all result from traumas. So if at one point you told somebody they had something in their teeth, and then you got them on a wrong day and they yelled at you, and they were already imbalanced and they just took it out on you, you might be shy to be like, you got something in your teeth. It sounds so simple. It sounds so simple, but this actually impacts people on an energetic long term, because something so simple can actually stay within them and that energy is not moving. So you may act defensively. So again, frustration behavior, this is a lot of the nervous system posture that we're working with when we're seeing defensive actions here or acting defensively. Overly compassionate to others at the detriment to oneself. Again, this is kind of a bit of the doormat person that will run themselves ragged to help everybody else, and then they have no time left for themselves. They have literally helped other people through their compassion at a detriment to themselves. Anxiety and depression, not being able to speak up, not being able to speak one's truth, or living in fear. Anxiety and depression is a lot of it, of living in fear. So this one comes from a lot of limiting beliefs of people feeling like they're trapped, they're not able to do things, and that's because we have the energy literally trapped in our body, and that's why it's not grounded. We're not grounded. We're not getting that stagnant energy out. We have to get that stagnant energy out. Diminishes your self-worth and confidence to pursue goals or new opportunities, and hinders a person's energy or motivation for that goal, which is a form of self-sabotage. There's going to be a quote later that we're going to talk about, but I'm just going to bring it up right now. It's from Henry Ford. Whether you say you can't or you say you can, you're right. Because mentally, you are not going to get the energy to do something if you don't believe that you can do it. I mean, it's just how it is, right? If you're not motivated, if you don't believe that you can do it, if you have limiting beliefs, you are going to self-sabotage yourself out from actually achieving your goals. It's crazy, but it's so true. Low self-worth erodes the self-esteem and makes one doubt their abilities. So we'll see a lot with this. Actually, astrologically, they're talking a lot about this from a prediction standpoint. So social media already, I think, is at about a 40%, like a high 40, like 47% of the information out there is misinformation, or it may not be like the whole story where you get like one part of the nugget and then like they've kind of altered the story. So it really just depends. This is going to affect your ability to trust what is right and wrong. This is kind of what social media is going to do, is it's going to mess with our trust. Can I trust it? Can I trust myself? Right? All the information that we're getting from the internet right now is either like super right or super incorrect. And of course, there's no right and wrong because it's really dependent on an individual, right? So like some people like the keto diet, some people are like, that does not work for me, it's awful. So there's just a lot of information out there that you can try, but there's just a lot of dogmatic people that are saying this is the ultimate, this is what you should do. And in all honesty, sorry, I'm losing my point a bit here, but in all honesty, like even self-worth will be tied to your self-doubt, because if you're doubting yourself, then you don't really have a high self-worth. So there's a lot of components that can play out here. And of course, as you can see, it's going to create a negative self-image. So a lot of people may experience like social anxiety and things of that nature just because they have limiting beliefs of their position in the world to the people that they're meeting. So, they may feel like imposter syndrome, right? They are not the ones that should be there. They're not the ones who should be speaking out. But in all honesty, a lot of those people do have good ideas. They have fabulous questions, and they oftentimes don't speak up because they really are afraid of how it's going to impact their self-image. And sometimes it can impact them negatively, even if they're trying to keep it positive. It's crazy. Let's talk about how we identify and transmute these limiting beliefs. So first and foremost, I am a big fan of journaling. I absolutely love it. When I started doing energy healing, I found it really beneficial, and I do recommend it to a lot of people. However, this may not be your thing, so you don't even have to think about it as journaling. You can think about it as taking a note, writing down, just making it something pretty simple and it's pretty easy. But just write down your limiting beliefs now or when they arise in the future. And if you're the type of person that's just like, you want to test it out and you're not quite sure what to say, one great thing to do is just put pen to paper and start writing out your thoughts. Just ask yourself, what do I think my limiting beliefs are? And you can actually your brain will just start writing all this stuff out for you. Again, your brain uses your physical body. Like we get rashes, because your brain wants to speak to you. We often ignore ourselves. We often ignore our intuition. we need to actually listen to it. So journaling is a great way to really get those thoughts down on paper, because sometimes I'll look at it and be like, I did not know that I felt that way or that something affected me. I thought I was fine with this, but once you just start writing it down, it's crazy what comes up. So you can either do it now or later on when it arises. Test for the accuracy. So fact check within yourself. Do you really think that? Is this a true thing? Is there any evidence to this? Is there very little merit? Again, when we go back to not trusting ourselves, it could be as simple as something in your childhood where your parents had a certain way of doing things. So they asked you to fit within the way that they do things. Whereas this may have not fit for you, so it created a limiting belief that you're not good enough or not worthy enough because you can't express yourself the way that you want to express yourself. You have to express yourself the way your parent wants to express yourself. So there's a multitude. And again, this is not just from a parental perspective. We have people that we have large communities, we have social media, we have politics, we have the environment. Everything is providing us information and telling us how we fit into the world. So, this doesn't actually have to just be a parental, although sometimes you can see it from that perspective. Five whys, if you're, a corporate person or just a lean Six Sigma because you just love that kind of stuff, the five whys is quite simple. So it's more process oriented. So this is the five whys is basically that you're just going to keep asking why. So I can't do that presentation. Why? Oh, because when I did a presentation back in high school, a whole bunch of people made fun of me. Why? Well, they made fun of me because I said, the word but or something, right? So they made fun of me. Why? And you just keep going back until you figure out, wow, actually, that's a limiting belief on me because kids made fun of me. And let's be honest, kids weren't very mature back then. We know this, right? And this is a limiting belief that comes into our adulthood where people can't speak because of a traumatic experience. So we have to clear that energy. We have to first see that we are not the issue. We are in yoga made perfectly how we were supposed to be for this world. Of course, we're always going to grow and have lessons, but we're made perfectly for this world. So being able to really go down to the five whys and find out that it's not really what's wrong with you, it's really what's wrong with society, which we know there's a bunch wrong with society, right? There's just ways that we talk to each other. There's a lot of negativity out there in the world. There's wars going on. There's just a lot going on. So ask the five whys, clear that. So the next thing you can do is transmute the energy or use mental alchemy. So there's a few things that you can do. So I say transmute the energy or use mental alchemy because two parts. One, sometimes to fix the brain, it's hardest to do it with the brain. Okay. So it just depends on the type of person that you are. However, I'm an air sign, so I'm very in the brain already. I have a high intellectual level. I like to do a lot of puzzles. I like to challenge my mind as much as I possibly can. So mentally, I'm always working. So sometimes mental alchemy is not that great for me. I now sometimes need to transmute my energy using either breathness, stillness, or using my arms to get the energy moving. So you can do energy healing, you can do energy work, you can use positive affirmations, and you can just basically transmute these fears and these belief systems from the more shadow aspect into more the positive aspect and more the light aspect that you're looking to do. And again, face your fears. You are more powerful than you think. I remember being so scared to dive into some of these limiting beliefs with my energy healer because I was like, oh my goodness, all my shame, all my dirty laundry is going to come out. She's going to judge me. And that's not what happened, because when we dove into it, you could actually see that, oh wow, I wasn't wrong. That was somebody else's imbalance. That was their trauma that they were taking out on me. And you start to actually understand these things. And then you have more understanding for yourself and you can figure out how to move forward and kind of close that out. And again, we're running right now on a huge ancestral pattern. So many people are being faced with ancestral patterns, even in the world today. Look at this. We have been going through wars for a very long time, and everybody knows we're at this like huge point, right? Pivotal point. There's a lot of tension going on in the world. And that's always, it's coming down to the fact that we haven't transmuted that energy. The world leaders have not figured out how to come together and transmute their negative energy. They're working off imbalance, sadly. Rinse and repeat. Once complete, start the process over again. Don't give up. Keep going. So these are just a few quotes to think about when you're thinking about the subject matter. Happiness is a conscious choice, not an automatic response. Many times our limiting beliefs are automatic responses. I can't do that. I won't do that. Those are automatic, and they're going to stop your energy from the beginning. So make sure that you're having a conscious choice. Really dive into it. Again, the Henry Ford quote, I feel like this is so beautiful. Whether you think you can or you can't, you are right. Because if you don't think you can, then you will not have the energy to complete or motivation to complete your task. The mind is everything. What you think, you become. And then I'm going to end with one last one because this is a big one. It takes up a whole page, but I feel like it is extremely important. So this is a quote from Mahatma Gandhi. And I feel like this really just shows the progression of what, again, those beliefs, those thoughts are going to create in your life. So watch your thoughts, for they become your words. Watch your words, for they will become actions. Watch your actions, for they will become your habits. Watch your habits, as they will become your character. Watch your character, for they will become your destiny. It's crazy, but really think about that. It's so true. Your thoughts, your words, then your actions, then your habits, that becomes your character. And then that becomes the destiny for your life. You have set yourself up for either failure or success. Thank you so much, loves. I really appreciate you joining me today. If you did like this video, please subscribe and hit the like button. It will just give me information on if you like this content, if you want to see more content like this. And again, you can go to my website, www.energeticturtle.org, where you can schedule a free consultation or an appointment with me. I also have a blog and other videos out there that are available. So if you'd like to check those out, you can feel free to do that as well. Thank you so much. I hope you have a wonderful day.